The RTX 3000 series, this is going to be a very big one. And there's already some big rumors floating around, but NVIDIA themselves also have this massive countdown where they're pretty much going to first announce the cards at the end of this month, then mid-range next month, we're going to see the cards being released, starting off with the RTX 3090, which this comes back to an early rumor where the RTX 2080 Ti was the first graphics card in the RTX series to stop production. But since then, we got some massive news, and that is all RTX 2000 series cards have stopped production. And so what does this mean for the gamers, but also, since I'm a bit of a used PC parts enthusiast, what does this mean for us guys that are flipping PCs? Let's discuss all these juicy things, RTX and more, and even AMD's upcoming RDNA 2 in today's video. NVidia? Ooh. What is Papa Loppin', ladies and gentlemen? This is... So they've stopped production of all these RTX 2000 series cards. And what does this mean from a standpoint from NVIDIA's side as a business? Well, it actually means a lot of really good things when we look at that side and sort of translate it to what the consumer is going to get. And the first thing is that the RTX 3000 series, based on what I'm hearing, is going to be so much more efficient than the RTX 2000 series cards. So we can expect not only architectural gains in performance, but we're going to see that efficiency with the node shrink going from the previous generation to now 7 nanometer. And this is huge news because it means that basically us, the consumers, are going to be getting better performance, but NVIDIA as well is going to be making more money per GPU. So that's why they would stop all the production of 2000 series cards, because the 3000 series cards is essentially going to make them more money. So with that cynical news out of the way, the stopping of production just means that they've stopped producing cards to sell to the board partners, who then package it in a card, ship it in a container, and then sell it through retail channels. But there is still cards that are going to be going through retail channels. So it's not like you're not going to see cards for another month at all. They're still going to flow out. But NVIDIA's basically predicted that with that's what all these statistics and all these models show, is that it's going to be a smooth transition. And as soon as the RTX 3000 is available, you'll pretty much have your 2000 series start becoming out of stock on pretty much all models. But that's to say, what we're going to talk about now is what you can do in this situation, right? We're going to hear performance rumors. They're going to go all over the place. You're going to have 50% more performance than a 2080 Ti, which of course seems about right given the 3090's specs that we're hearing about. But we're also going to see the 3080, I think, come in with higher performance than the 2080 Ti. And not only that, it's going to come in with much better power efficiency. So the 3080 is going to be the card that's, I feel, going to be a lot more relevant to most people. These two cards are going to be released first, followed by the 3070 and the 3060. However, the time frame between these releases is going to be a lot quicker than it was on, say, the 2080 Ti versus then the 2070 versus the 2060. So you will see a quicker release of all these cards, and I believe the whole SKU and the whole stack will be released before Christmas this year. But this is where the pricing and the performance, that's still up in the air. How are these things going to perform exactly? No one really exactly knows until they're released. So when you see all these rumors floating around, you can definitely say one thing, and that is that the 3090 is going to perform the best. The 3080 will, I believe, beat out the 2080 Ti in performance, but also be a lot more efficient and possibly even cheaper. So it's going to be the card to get, I feel. The 3080 is going to be the one to get. Even though the 3090 is going to be there, rumors are it's going to be a very expensive card. So I feel like the 3080 is going to outsell the 3090 and the 2080 Ti before it a lot better. Though these two graphics cards are not going to really affect the market that much. They're going to be NVIDIA's flagship cards to say, hey, we've got the dominant performance on the gaming GPU side, but they're not really going to affect used prices a whole lot. Sure, 2080 Ti's and 2080 Supers are going to become cheaper, but when we're looking at mainstream GPUs like RX 570s, GTX 1660s, and all that stuff on the used market, the 3080 and 3090 aren't really going to affect the pricing that much because they're in a different league of card. It's the 3060 in particular that I really have my eyeballs on. Now, this is rumored to come out in sometime in November, and if this card's right with the pricing, this is really going to shake up a lot of things in the used market. And what I mean by that is that currently used graphics cards, at least where I'm at now, they're overpriced. People are just asking pretty much similar prices to that of new graphics cards, especially in the likes of a GTX 1070 versus a 1660 Super, for example. Pretty much the same performance, but the GTX 1070 will even sometimes outsell it for more money on the used market. And this really leaves me scratching my head because one is used, it's old, doesn't really carry a warranty anymore, and the other is more efficient and it's new. So the RTX 3060 I feel is going to be one of the best cards for shaking up the market, as well as the RTX 3070, of course. That's going to definitely bring prices down of cards like, say, the 1080 Ti, as well as the 2070. So you will be able to get some really good deals in the next couple of months on used graphics cards. That's how I feel. If not, you've got those new cards that are going to come through and really bring that price performance. Well, hopefully. Anyhow, we're going to go on to the next big question in today's video, and that is, should I wait or should I buy now? And if you're this close to a brand new GPU launch, if you're this close to something this big like RTX 3000, I do recommend to all the people around Tech Yes City, I say, look guys, just wait, see what this brings to the table. It's only as time goes on, you're only going to get better in terms of price performance, right? That's just the way tech works. However, that said, if you can find a really good deal on a graphics card, then always snap that up. Just know what the new prices are, the MSRPs, and if that stuff's coming in around 50-60% of that price, that's always going to be a good deal. So regardless of whether RTX 3000 series is out, snap up a really good deal. Don't let that confuse you to the likes of going out and buying a new card at MSRP. So if you are thinking about buying a brand new PC, generally, especially for the GPU, do some waiting. But there is one thing that I always recommend too with new launches, and that is if you're going to build a whole new PC, go out and buy all the other parts now. So everything except the GPU. Go get your power supply, go get your SSD, go get your RAM, go get your CPU, motherboard. You can get some really good deals before these graphics cards are launched, because as soon as they're launched, a lot of people will want to not only buy that card, but go out and build a new PC. So I don't know if this recommendation is mainstream, but this is the recommendation that I've stuck to for years, and it hasn't changed. Though, of course, the last audience to address here is the used PC flippers. What is RTX 3000 series going to bring to the table? Well, it's, as we said before, that RTX 3060, that could really bring a big shakeup. So if you're sitting on a lot of 1080 Ti's, or you're sitting on a lot of 2070s, or just these cards that are susceptible to being at the same performance of a 3060 or a 3070, then I would definitely think about offloading them in gaming PCs right now if you can, because when that new stuff comes out, a lot of the times, especially the graphics card, I find a lot of people are always looking at the graphics card to the point where an RTX 2070 Super on the used market is much more desirable than a 1080 Ti. Even though they perform pretty similar, the 2070 has less VRAM, people are going for the newer graphics cards pretty much all the time. That's what I find with GPUs in particular. Though now we're going to flip sides to Team Red, the big Navi, the upcoming RDNA 2, which is rumored to come out in November. So this is supposedly going to have performance that's going to beat the 2080 Ti, which is going to be a great thing. It's about time AMD got some higher end GPUs out that really stuck it to NVIDIA. The problem with that is that the RTX 3000 series is coming out before this November release date. So it does worry me that AMD, sometimes in the GPU market, I feel like AMD is kind of 2 steps behind NVIDIA, where NVIDIA always just have that preemptive move where they release before AMD, or they do something before AMD gets a chance to sort of really gain some traction. And so if this is true, we've got the November release, so AMD really have to stick it to the new RTX 3000 series if they want to gain a big traction and take away from NVIDIA's market share. But it all remains to be seen in terms of the exact price performance you're getting, in terms of the exact performance and overclocking and all that stuff. We're all essentially just going to have to wait it out. But I will say one thing, these new upcoming GPU launches is probably going to be, for me personally, the most exciting thing of 2020. Given what's been going on this year. So I'm really looking forward to both these GPU launches. I hope you guys are too. And with that aside, if you enjoyed today's video, then be sure to hit that like button for us. Also, let us know in the comment section below what you think about the new 3000 series cards, what's going to be your favorite pick out of the new bunch and why, as well as AMD side. What do you think they're going to bring with RDNA 2? Love reading those thoughts and opinions as always. Just like this question of the day here. And it comes from G Loopshag, and they ask, how did you get 221 FPS in Fortnite with the i5 4440? I have the same CPU and the same GPU, and I can't get 144 FPS. How? So this comes to, when we're doing benchmarks on the channel, you've always got to look at the date on that video. So this was done last year, and so Fortnite has had a massive update since then. I also tested in that video, I noticed I tested on high and off. So lately I've been testing on competitive settings with the view distance in particular set to epic versus far. So if you match all those settings, then you should be able to get similar FPS, but it won't be the same because I don't know what happens in those game updates. Maybe they make it more strenuous on the CPU, especially since they've got all these new maps going on now. But the bottom line is, when we do benchmarks, especially like a lot of tech reviewers I know, when everyone does benchmarks, you have to do fresh benchmarks for that driver set as well as that particular game update, because comparing your numbers now to numbers in the past is just, it's like comparing apples to oranges. So I can't really help you there and explain how, but the how is basically, back then we were getting that FPS, but now I guess you're clearly not able to get that FPS. Another thing too is definitely tune up your Windows, tune up your system, and even tune up your DDR3 memory if you can, and that should definitely help. Hope that answers that question, and if you guys have stayed this far and you're enjoying that content, be sure to hit that sub button and ring that bell to get the videos as soon as they drop here at Tech Yes City, and I'll catch you in another tech video very soon. Peace out for now. Bye.